favorite thing about coming to InTech has been that I felt like the faculty and the people who are in charge of making my future happen have actually listened to me and have my best interests at heart. They've given me pathways to find passions that I didn't know that I had, and have rewarded me for doing the things that I want to do and the things that I'm passionate about, rather than keeping me on a strict path of this is the curriculum. It's about me. It's not about what anybody else wants. It's about my future. So that's the thing that I like the most about it.
Probably what I like the best is going to early college. It kind of makes you feel like an adult, and you get to graduate with a bunch of college credits.
All the different types of classes that InTech offers. I'm really different engineering type classes that can be available, which is so awesome.
Probably the people here. We have great teachers that are able to work one-on-one with us, and then the students here, we're all kind of weird and nerdy, so it's fun time.
I like how everybody can just be themselves. There's not a lot of social pressure. The fact that it's small and you kind of get to know everyone that's around, even the freshmen, and you're not lost in a sea of people every day.
I love the teachers so much. They've always been so nice and so kind to me, and they're just delightful.
All right. So there you have a little bit of information about InTech. And we'll watch another couple videos here during our presentation. And my name is Jason Stenger. I'm the principal and director here at InTech. And we are so happy to have you here with us tonight to help you determine whether InTech is a good fit for you and your students. As we move forward, we ask each year what our students like about InTech. And we always ask that of our seniors when they graduate. And a couple of years ago, we took the opportunity to ask some of our younger students as well. And so we'll show another short video right now just about what they really like about InTech.
I think the thing that I enjoy most about InTech is the environment and the ability that they have here at this small of a school to tailor itself to the individual.
I think that other students like how friendly the teachers are and how we all interact with each other. Everybody's super helpful.
My favorite thing about InTech is probably how willing the teachers are to help you. If you need help with an assignment, they're often willing to stay after school.
Teachers are really friendly. At first I came to InTech, the English was really hard for me, so I always go to English teacher and other classes teacher after school and asking what should I have to do and how can I improve this assignment. They always help me kindly and they gave me advice for that.
I think the best thing I like about InTech is probably the teachers. They're very willing and they bring in the whole community. So through InTech, I like, a lot of the people. That's one of the big things that I really liked about it. Just, having the community here, small community, everybody's friends. There's no, really popular people. There's no nerds down at the bottom. We're all kind of the same.
Because of the focus on STEM, there are a lot of kids here who wanted to take that advantage to try out the different things that we offer here, like the engineering and the science and stuff, which is something that we focus on a lot.
If you want a smaller school size and have teachers that want to help you succeed, this is going to be the school for you.
I really like how the positive environment is with the teachers and how you can go in and get extra help with work and if you really need it and be able to have the support you need.
I really like that it's such a small school, so everyone feels like they're part of the community. For one thing, I'm friends with people that are juniors, I'm friends with people that are seniors, even though they're not around much because of the early college program. It's also really nice that we can get into college classes and take tests.
Opportunity that we have here, our STEM program, the classes, teachers, and the atmosphere that we have here. friendly and caring.
All right. So hopefully, again, that gives you some idea of InTech and what we do here and what our students really like about the school. And I'm just changing a little bit of my screen settings for myself. Okay. So we hopefully have gone through all the introductory information that you need. Again, this meeting is being recorded. So if you need to leave for some reason, we'll have this available on our website, hopefully tomorrow. And if you do need any assistance or have questions, you can put those in the chat, and Ms. Frainer can respond to those. And so I'll just continue through our presentation and give you some information about the school. We added 7th and 8th grade this year. We used to be InTech Collegiate High School. We are now InTech Collegiate Academy. And so if you are looking to come in 7th or 8th grade, awesome. We are so excited to have you. We will be excited to have students in 7th and 8th grade after COVID is over. It's been a challenging year for everyone. We're making it through in our first year in 7th and 8th grade, and we look forward to expanding that program and our offerings next year. Now, many of our extracurricular offerings and our STEM curricular offerings in junior high in 7th and 8th grade are similar to the offerings we have in high school wherever possible. And we'll talk about those a little bit later. Now, InTech has a very focused mission. We are trying to expand the base of talent of students pursuing college and STEM careers. And we do that by providing outreach to groups that are traditionally underrepresented in STEM and college through our marketing and recruitment. And then once students are here, we do that by providing outreach to students who are struggling. And we provide a lot of additional services and supports for students who want to work hard and can do it, but they need some additional assistance. We also provide early college programs, and some you might be familiar with because other schools have them. And we have a unique one called Early College that we'll also talk about tonight. And then we have a STEM-focused curriculum. So we specialize specifically in engineering and computer science, as well as hands-on science activities like science fair. So that mission, as I've kind of alluded to, has some implications about what we do. We do STEM, we do early college, and we do outreach to groups traditionally underrepresented in those areas. It also means there are some things that we don't do. We don't have athletics here. We also, although we do have PE, and I'll cover that later, we also don't have performing arts here. We do have fine arts, but they are typically visual and typically technology driven like graphic arts. And so that's something you should be aware of. If you're really looking for a junior high or high school experience that has a heavy emphasis on athletics or performing arts, it's something to consider whether InTech is a good fit for you. I will share with you later some opportunities for you to come to InTech and also participate in athletics and or performing arts at other schools. And so that's possible, but that is a consideration if you're trying to determine whether you want to come to InTech. Often parents will ask us, is InTech right for my student? And quite frankly, it's inappropriate and possibly illegal for us to tell you whether your student should come or should not come to InTech. It's your student's right to be here as long as they meet the 3 rigorous criteria of the appropriate age, they're residents of the state of Utah, and they haven't been expelled in the last 365 days from a public school. If they can meet those 3 criteria, it's their right to be here. So we try to be cautious about telling people whether it's a good fit or not for you. But changing that question just a little bit, you can ask whether it's a good fit for you and your family. One thing you should consider, along with the athletics and performing arts that I've already talked about, is InTech's workload. we are an early college program, which means our program is accelerated, and we do expect that our average student will do more homework and be doing higher level schoolwork than their same aged, same graded peers in other schools. So please consider that if your student refuses to do homework, that's not something they're going to do. We only have more of that. If that's not the kind of experience that your student wants or that you want for your student, we might not be a good fit. We're going to leave that for you to decide, but that is one concern that some parents who decided it wasn't for them expressed, is the workload is a bit higher here. And that's a wonderful thing if you like STEM and early college. And we have some wonderful opportunities for those who are willing to do that work. And we also have the supports for those who are willing to do that work. We're a public school, so there's no tuition. There are school fees like other junior highs and high schools have. Ours are typically lower, and we've really tried to reduce those and not have as many fees as some other schools have. But we do have a few school fees. We're fully accredited. We're open to all Utah students. Again, if you're a resident of the state or your guardian is a resident of the state, you are a student of appropriate age, and you haven't been expelled in the last 365 days, you can come to InTech. We do offer all the required courses for graduation, and those courses are sometimes limited. We may not have a lot of options because we're a small school. We try to remain focused on what we need to do and what our mission is, but we do have everything required in 7th and 8th grade and required for graduation in high school. As we talked about, we are unique to us. We do a lot of hands-on STEM. We have an early college program. We have really consistently high academic results. We have robust student supports, lots of opportunities for students to get extra help if they need it. We are small, and that's one of the things that people who come to InTech really like about the school is our small size and our sense of community. And when we ask them, what do you like about InTech? That's one of the most frequent things that they tell us, even more than our curricular focus. We also issue each student a laptop, so we're highly technology focused, and that was prior to COVID. Every student is issued a laptop, and we use a lot of technology software, and especially in engineering and digital media to assist students in those areas. We are partnered uniquely with USU and also with Cache District. We're authorized by Cache District, and we partner with USU to provide our early college programs. So those are some of our unique features. So before we move on, let's pause for just a second. And you have any questions about the material that has been presented to this point. And if you can, put those in the chat so we're not talking over each other. Or if it's a question you really need to ask verbally because the chat's too cumbersome, please just put that in the chat. I want to ask a question verbally, and Jadine, Ms. Frainer will call on you. And we'll give you just a few seconds to type those in. And I'm not seeing any right now, so we will continue. We really love to do STEM in a hands-on fashion. We want to engage students in science, technology, engineering, and math in ways that are really interesting to them. And the best way we think typically is for them to do hands-on projects, to actually build things and do things with their scientific knowledge, their engineering skill, and their technology, computer science skills that they're learning. And so we offer multiple extracurricular opportunities, including FIRST and VEX robotics. Now on the screen, you'll see some in blue and some in red. The ones in blue are the high school offerings. The ones in red are the junior high school offerings. So we do offer VEX for 7th and 8th grade, Science Fair, or Broadcom Masters, depending on grade level. And then Technology Student Association and Future Business Leaders of America, specifically focused on a lot of the computer science related competitions they do. And TSA and Future Business Leaders of America are amazing because they have a wide range of competitions that students can get involved in. When we think of technology here, we want students to think of technology broadly. One thing about our Technology Student Association is we are, I believe it was the 4-time champions in fashion design and technology. And often people don't think of fashion design as something that requires technical skill, but actually at USU, they've started an outdoor product design program, and people have to know the engineering tolerances of different materials to build outdoor products. And outdoor clothing is what they're really manufacturing. And they also have to understand how to use computer software, specifically design software, in order to build and create those. And so some of our students who did fashion design here as an extracurricular activity went on and explored that program at college as an example of thinking broadly about what STEM is and how we can prepare students for that. We have consistently strong academic results. You can see that state and national rankings have recognized InTech. We are typically, when it comes to test scores in the state, typically in the top 5, if not in the top 10 of schools in the state. Similar to the other early college high schools in the state. There are 9 early college high schools in the state now, and you will typically find most of them at the top of any state rankings. Our students have worked really hard. Now, some people have asked us, well, does that just mean you have the best and brightest students? And we do have some students who are just flat out brilliant. They are typically a handful of our students. Most of our students are average students who come to InTech, they want to work hard, and then they take advantage of our small school size and the supports that we offer and the hands-on curriculum to really accelerate their learning and become better students and prepare themselves for college. And that shows up in their academic results, including their state testing and ACT testing. We have robust learning supports, as I talked about. We have a counselor to student ratio of less than 1 to 200. We actually have 1.25 counselors for 200 students. And the state average for high school is typically 1 to 350. And we do want, on purpose, to have a much lower student to counselor ratio so that students have more access to get assistance in planning for college and careers, because we're trying to do that early and help students do that while they're still in high school. Faculty tutoring is provided at least 3 times a week. Peer tutoring also available 3 times a week. Those have had to be adjusted a little bit during COVID this year, but we'll get right back to where we were in previous years as soon as that's possible. Summer school, for students who are coming to us as new students, we typically offer a summer school head start, and we're hoping to do that again next summer. Again, this year COVID kind of hit that and took that away from us, but as long as we're able to do that again this fall in August, we'll have you come and do some things early so you're ready to go on day 1 if you're a student. We hold a weekly advisory period, at least 1, and sometimes multiple advisories after school. And then we have tutorial periods during the day. If your student is on an IEP or 504, we also have a special educator on staff, and our counselors also act as 504 coordinators. So if you have a student with a disability who needs those additional accommodations or services, those are available at InTech. All right, let's stop there and see if anyone has any questions about kind of our extracurriculars and curricular offerings. You can, again, put those in the chat, and Ms. Frainer can respond to those. Or if you think you need to ask that verbally, just let us know, and Ms. Frainer will call on you to answer those questions. Okay, and I see a couple questions there in the chat, and we are going to get to those in the presentation. If we don't, please stop us at the end because we missed something, because they're in here. We, as I said, we are partnered with USU. We're actually here on USU campus, on the Innovation Campus, just barely. If we went across the street, we wouldn't be at USU anymore. And we like being right here because that allows our students who are in early college programs to go from here and just go right up on campus. It allows us to take field trips to USU. All of our students have access to USU's libraries, most of their resources. I think there's a few collections that they really don't want to have high schoolers have access to in their special collections. We do joint grant projects occasionally with Utah State, and we've had multiple professors and college students come down and mentor our students here in robotics, rocketry, science fair, and other things. And of course, many of our parents are college professors, and so they have a vested interest in the school, and those are wonderful connections. And our students are occasionally able to participate in some USU activities. Of course, we don't want our high school students attending a college dance. That would be inappropriate, but they've participated in homecoming and some research events and other things like that. And so those are wonderful opportunities. One of my favorite joint grant projects that we ever did, to give you an illustration, is that USU had a graduate student who wanted to create a curriculum to teach high school students about microgravity. And we had some high school students who, for science fair, wanted to do some microgravity experiments. And so it worked out fabulously. For 8 weeks, our physics classes went up to USU and dropped stuff down USU stairwells. And of course, USU had created a rig to capture data on things that were dropped. And we usually got about 2 seconds of free fall was the most we could get. But then students here at InTech had research for their science fair project, and USU was able to develop a curriculum for teaching microgravity in high school. And that's one of the wonderful things we can do here being so close to USU is those types of things happen each year. There's a project or two like that. Through our partnership with Utah State, our students can take up to 2 years of college credit, actually 66 credits, while still in high school. And doing that typically at free or very low cost through 3 methods. And I'll talk about those. Students are on scholarship to do that. Families can actually save up to $18,000 currently. That number grows every year as tuition rates increase at Utah State. So parents, if you are interested in your high school juniors and seniors saving up to $18,000 on tuition, InTech has the programs for you. And some of our programs, specifically concurrent enrollment and AP, are occasionally available to freshmen and sophomores. So students who have exceptional abilities can start in their freshman year, and some of our AP courses and occasionally a concurrent course are open to sophomores as well. Now every high school in the Valley has some advanced placement and some concurrent enrollment. That's not unique to us. If you decide not to come to InTech, but you definitely want your student to get college credit while still in high school, please check out advanced placement or concurrent enrollment at any of the other high schools. They've got those opportunities. And if you get nothing else out of this presentation, if you decide not to come to InTech, please, 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 parents, check out those programs at other high schools. InTech has a third program for earning college credit, and that is called Early College. And it allows juniors and seniors at InTech to actually go up on campus at Utah State on scholarship and take half their classes at USU, and not just the general education classes that are typically offered through advanced placement and concurrent enrollment, but anything in the catalog that students are otherwise qualified for, as long as they have the prerequisite courses. And so we've had students take a variety of courses. In fact, one student who had exceptional math abilities actually was taking graduate level math courses as a junior in high school. And other students were taking courses in theater, things that we don't offer. We already talked about we don't offer performing arts, but they were able to take some courses at Utah State college level performing arts courses while still in high school. Now there is a qualification for that. Most of you who are coming tonight are having students who are applying in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. So this is a ways out for you. So you don't need to worry too much about that index qualification, but there is an ACT score and a GPA requirement for that program. USU offers a 50% scholarship. And on the first course that a student takes each semester, InTech offers the other 50%. So it's 100% scholarship. And then for a second course, InTech offers or pays for most of a second course for each of 4 semesters. Any questions about our early college offerings? Again, if you have those, enter those in the chat, and Ms. Frainer's been great about being able to respond to those. We currently have 199 students this year. We are projecting, sorry, 185 is wrong. We're projecting, again, 200-ish, and 200-ish is our maximum, right? In there, we have 202 lockers. Occasionally, juniors and seniors don't need a locker, so we might go just a little over 200, but we should be between 190 and 210. So our school is always small. And it's intended to be that way. Again, one of the things parents and students love about the school is that we are small, that students feel like there's a sense of community, they don't get lost in the cracks. And that's been one of the wonderful things about InTech. So that's another thing to consider in whether you want your student to come here or not, whether it's a good fit for you as a family. Again, if you want robust athletics, robust performing arts, or you want a large social milieu and you don't want a lot of homework necessarily, you might want to consider some other options. Again, we can't tell you definitively that, but those are some things to consider. Our average class sizes have been in the mid-20s. We expect they'll continue to be in the mid to high 20s in next year. We've already talked about some of our clubs, but we have multiple other clubs other than just the STEM clubs. We have National Honor Society. We've already talked about TSA and FIRST and VEX. We also have a Student Leadership Activities Board. That's our student government. They actually meet as a class and plan dances and talent shows and other things like that. We have Yearbook, Model United Nations, as well as some of the other clubs we already talked about. And those are a lot of fun for our students. Unfortunately, during COVID, we haven't been able to do as many this year or have as many competitions. We are so looking forward next year to being able to get back in the groove of doing multiple competitions in a lot of our clubs. Now, some of you might be interested in some things that we don't offer. Again, athletics and performing arts are some things that we don't specialize in, but there is a way if you want to come to InTech and have our academic experience and then go have an extracurricular experience at another location, that is possible. And every year we have students who participate in athletics or performing arts at another area high school. And to do that, you still have to make teams or qualify for the clubs or whatever that is, whatever their qualifications are. And InTech cannot offer it. So some people have asked if InTech would ever offer sports. Probably not, because if we offer a sports team, we probably wouldn't be very good at it. And then our students would not be able to participate in their resident schools sports teams, which often they're very competitive at. And so students want to go and participate there. So we won't offer sports because of that. But if you would like to go and participate in those, you can at your resident high school. So it's not necessarily the closest building to us. If you live out in Hiram, your resident high school is Mountain Crest. That's where your student would need to participate. And that can be kind of a commute, and the logistics can be a little challenging. But our students have done football, swim, orchestra, theater, pretty much every extracurricular activity at one of the other high schools. Please, there is one caveat to this that you want to be aware of, or two caveats actually. The first is you want to be aware of the difference between extracurricular, which is pretty much it's only after school, and that applies mostly to sports, and co-curricular. And that often applies to the performing arts, where there may be a required class that students have to participate in to be involved in that co-curricular activity. Think of orchestra and theater. Often there's a class in the day they have to participate in, as well as after-school practices and performances. If it's an extracurricular, like sports typically, your resident school must allow you to participate. If it's co-curricular, they don't have to allow you to participate in that. And the districts have slightly different policies. Typically, Cache District has been more open to that than Logan District. And so you'd want to check with your district about whether they would allow you to do that. Often we have the question, well, does that also apply to 7th and 8th grade? And it can, but the logistics get much more difficult because there's not as much time in 7th and 8th grade schedules to allow students to go participate in that. But if we can work out the logistics, that's fine. And that is the second caveat. The logistics of coming here during the day and then doing extracurriculars or a co-curricular somewhere else can be a little bit tricky. It's easier when students are older and can drive themselves, of course, or have or are going to a school that is closest to us, like Green Canyon and Logan. Obviously, it's easier to get to those schools. They can jump a bus and do that. It's also easiest if they participate in those things at the end of our school day or at the very beginning of those schools' school day. If they're trying to do something at another school during the middle of the day, it's really challenging to pull that off. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. If you're interested in coming to InTech for our curricular programs and wanting to do extracurriculars somewhere else, please let us know. We can try to talk you through that and help you think through whether that will be a workable solution for you. And we have students do that every year, but we also have some that find that that's too problematic and they decide that InTech may not work for them, or they decide that the extracurricular may not work for them. Now, if there's courses that you would like to take and they're not offered at InTech, there are several options available for you. There is dual enrollment at your resident district, kind of splitting the day. And that works better actually in Cache District because they're on trimesters, we're on trimesters, and we have a daily schedule. It doesn't work as neatly with Logan because they have an AB schedule. And so if you're considering that, please let us know and we can, again, talk you through whether that, what the logistics of that would look like and how they would work. And then you can determine whether that's a good fit. We also offer independent study for fine arts and physical education. Two of my sons are here right now, and one of them plays piano and the other is trying to learn the banjo. At least that's what his mom expects of him. And so they have a release period and they're getting independent study credit for taking those music lessons. And that will allow them to earn art credit, something that we wouldn't be great at performing arts, and they can still do performing arts through that. BYU Independent Study or other programs like it. BYU Independent Study is a program that parents can pay for to take courses that we don't offer if they want their students to take those courses. That's the drawback to that, is it is a paid program, but it has a wide range of courses if you're interested in that. And that's the most popular around here. If you have other similar programs that are accredited, we're happy to look at those as well if you want to do independent study. Bridgerland or BTech is also an option for students after their sophomore year. We have many students that spend half their day over at BTech taking advantage of their technology courses and their career courses, and that is an awesome opportunity. And especially if you are a family like me, I'm the first in my family to go to college. And so I needed scholarships, or I needed to pay my own way. And I came from a working class background. That's what my family came from. And so I needed opportunities to make a little bit higher wage to pay my way through college. And if that's you, we especially recommend that to families who might need that extra opportunity for their student to earn their way through college. Please go to BTech, get something that will help you get a credential that will help you earn more while you're paying your way through college. Or if you're just like, I want to go to BTech and that's going to be my career, that's also an awesome opportunity and fits neatly with our STEM mission. We probably have some courses here that you can start out with and then move into a STEM pathway over at BTech. USU Early College is also a way for students to do things that we don't necessarily offer on our campus at InTech. And one of my favorite examples is of a student who wanted to do theater. We obviously, like we've talked about multiple times already, we don't offer performing arts at InTech, but this student wanted to do theater. And STEM was not his thing. In fact, it is not an exaggeration, I am told. I wasn't here when he was first a student, but I'm told he literally did not know the difference between a hammer and a screwdriver. That's how mechanically disinclined he was. And he tolerated our engineering courses for a couple of years, looking forward to our early college program. As a junior and senior in high school, he did get into the early college program at USU and took several theater courses and did really well there, and was actually in multiple USU performances, including at the Lyric downtown, and starred in one of their performances. And that particular play was asked to come and do a reading off Broadway. Of the cast, he was the only cast member that was actually asked to come and read his own part, and as a high school student, doing that off Broadway. Then he went on to college, and because he had had a college level experience in theater at InTech, he was able to audition really well, went to one of the schools of his choice. He went actually to the U and did theater there. He thought he didn't have very much use for STEM, right? He didn't love our engineering courses or all of that. One of his first courses he took at college was a set design course because he was a theater major. And he went into that course, and he was the only one in his class that knew how to use the power tools. And so he was able to show everyone else how to use the power tools, and he had learned that because he took engineering. And this story gets even better when we talk about thinking of STEM broadly. Later, when he was a junior or senior in college, the med school at the University of Utah and the law school hire theater majors to role play with the lawyers and with the med students. And so for the law school, they could act as jury members or witnesses, be a belligerent witness and help the lawyers perfect their craft. In the law school, very much a STEM-focused area, or in the medical school, a STEM-focused area, the theater majors would go lay down in the bed, and the doctors would have to come practice their bedside manner, right? Tell someone that they're dying or that their loved one is dying. That was a lot of fun for him. And that allowed him to apply his theater interest to a STEM field. A couple of years later, he wanted to go to grad school, and he ended up going, I believe, to Johns Hopkins University to a new program they started in human factors, got a master's degree, and eventually a PhD, essentially setting up the same types of programs he was doing as an undergrad at the U at multiple medical schools across the country. And that's what he does now. He's able to apply STEM to his passion and his interest, which is theater. And that's just one example of how an early college program played out for a student who didn't necessarily want to do our STEM programs. So any questions about early college or STEM offerings, or how to do extracurriculars or curricular programs that we don't offer? And again, you can put those in the chat, and Ms. Frainer's responding to those. All of our students are issued a laptop. They have 24/7 access to our software and programs. They use the computers daily, and especially right now during COVID, of course they do. But even before that, I think we've been doing one-to-one for 7 or 8 years now. And our students just use technology all the time. They are very technology fluent, and we help them learn the software and programs they need to be prepared for college and STEM careers. We do have a dress code, of course. It's a standard dress code that looks like many other schools. Because we are smaller, we think we have a better opportunity of encouraging that dress code and enforcing it. Our dress code emphasizes safety, modesty, and the maintenance of a learning environment. We do not have uniforms. If you're coming from Thomas Edison Charter School, they do have uniforms. We sometimes people hear we don't have uniforms and they assume we don't have a dress code. We absolutely do. We just don't have a uniform dress code. Our calendar is a traditional calendar year. We run a trimester schedule, and that means we have 5 academic periods a day and then a flex period. And in that flex period, that's when we run some of our interventions and supports. We have assemblies, guest speakers. Sometimes we'll have talent shows or other activities where students can get together and work on projects together or develop a sense of community together. And then our school day runs from 9 to 3:35. And of course, our students like that our school starts later because they're teens and they like sleeping in. The trade-off to that is we end a little bit later than the other schools in the afternoon. If you're wondering how to get to InTech, of course, we have people who drop their students off each day. If you're interested in a carpool, you can let us know, and then we can try to communicate with people who may live in your area and see if they would be interested in carpooling. CVTD also has a route that stops right by our back door, and there are another 2 routes or 3 routes that pass within a couple blocks of us. And the Aggie Shuttle, it only operates when USU is in session, but it also comes within 1 block of the school. Parents often ask us how to be involved, what their opportunities are. And of course, you probably recognize this. The way your elementary student wanted you to be with them is probably different than the way that your secondary student wants you to be involved. Most secondary students don't want their parents volunteering to be an aide in class daily. However, our students love when their parents are able to come on extracurricular outings with them, when they're mentors of teams, or come on field trips with us. We also have multiple other opportunities for parents to be involved. 2 of our board members are elected parents, and they're elected by other parents to serve on the board for 2-year terms. We have multiple chaperoning or mentoring opportunities through the year. We encourage and specifically ask for parent feedback and have formal opportunities multiple times during the year for parents to give us feedback, and we really want to know how we're doing and how we can improve. So you're always welcome to give us feedback at any time, but we'll also come and ask you specifically for that. All of our parents have access to Aspire, where grades are posted, and Canvas, where you can see every individual assignment. In fact, we have a parent access to that where you can see exactly what your student sees, so you can track them and what they're doing in classes if you would like to do that. We have parent-teacher-student conferences 3 times a year. In fact, we're doing that this evening in the building, actually remotely this year, but our teachers are doing that tonight. And our faculty are available before and after school. There also have other commitments before and after school, tutoring students or having some faculty meetings. So we'd ask if you want their time during that time before and after school, that you arrange that with them ahead of time. But they have an hour and a half to help students and help parents each day if that's something that's necessary or useful. All right. Any questions at this point? The next section here is just about how to apply and what our lottery looks like. So before we go on to that, are there any questions you want to ask in the chat that you haven't been able to? All right. Now, normally we allow students to shadow, and that means that they could come in and just spend a day following another student around. Due to COVID, that's been suspended for this year. We won't be able to do that this year. However, if you would like a brief tour of the building, usually that tour takes only about 10 or 15 minutes. We could tour you through the building. It is a small facility, but it could give you a sense of what the school is like, at least during COVID. We only have about half of our students here on any particular day because we're running a hybrid schedule right now. But you can see the facility and some of the programs we run and get an idea of our culture if you wanted to do that. And you can just call the front office or email Ms. Frainer to schedule that. Our lottery, we have a lottery every month starting at the end of January. And so your best opportunity of getting in is by applying before January 31st. So if you're on this call and you and your student have not already applied and you're interested in InTech, please apply by January 31st. Please be aware that siblings of current and former students have preference. And so far they have always gotten in. If we have any siblings applying for 8th grade this year, that might be a challenge. But otherwise they should all likely get in based on our history. If you are a family that has a verified low-income background, there is additional weight given to your application in the lottery if it's verified. That means you need to submit documentation to us before next Thursday. And if that applies to you, please contact Ms. Frainer. You can call her in the office or send her an email so that can be private. And she can let you know what documentation we need, and that does need to be in by next Friday. The lottery will be held this year on February 1st at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll record that. So we know some people won't be able to be there. It is going to be virtual, so you can't be present physically, but we'll stream that and record that. If you want to watch that, just be aware the actual lottery is done by computer. It takes about 2 minutes for us to press the buttons, and it takes us about 20 minutes to explain what we're doing when we're pressing the buttons. So it's actually kind of anticlimactic, but we want to make sure that people can watch that if they want to observe that to see how we do that. And we develop both the list of students who are accepted through the lottery and our wait list through that process. And shortly after we have that lottery, we will send out an enrollment packet link, or it's actually an online registration now. We'll send that out to you. And if you know you want to come to InTech, you'll have a month to turn that in. If you have not yet applied yet, you can go to our website, and that's intechacademy.org. And then you'll see a Join Us tab. Under that Join Us tab, Join Us as a student. That will pull up another page, and you will click Apply to Enroll. And that will take you to an enrollment form where we collect mostly demographic data from you and how to contact you, the things that we're allowed to collect from you by law. There's no grades or test scores that we collect. That's actually not appropriate for us to collect. So you don't need to provide that, but there is demographic and contact information we ask for. Again, if you have not already applied and want to be included in the first enrollment lottery where you have the best chance of getting in, please do that by January 31st at midnight. All right, and that is our presentation. So now we will open it up to questions. You can post those in the chat. And again, if you would like to ask a question, you can also just, if you'd like to ask one verbally, you can also put that in the chat, and we're happy to call on you to respond to that. If you have personal questions that you would like to ask, because we have so many people on the call, that may not be as private as you would like, please feel free to send us an email. I will put my email in the chat right now, and Ms. Frainer will as well. And you can email those to us. And if you'd put in the email your question, or if it's something we need to maybe discuss more at length, you can send us an email with your phone number and we'll contact you. But my email is now in the chat, and Ms. Frainer's is there as well. All right. It's always kind of odd in these meetings to not have as much verbal feedback, but we're seeing a few questions and thank yous in the chat. Again, if you'd like a tour, please arrange that with Ms. Frainer in the front office. If you have private questions, please send those to us or send us an email with your phone number so we can get back to you and try to respond to those. And if you haven't already applied yet, please do so. We'd love to see your application added there. And yes, there's a question. Is the meeting over? The meeting is over unless you have questions. And you can ask those in the chat, or you can stick around and see what other people ask in the chat. And just as you ask questions, again, we are recording this meeting. So if you have a private or personal question, please send us an email so that that's not captured in the recorded chat. And we'll wait about another 6 minutes for questions until 7 o'clock, as long as people are on. And if people jump off, we will then be done for the evening. Maricela, you are asking student demographics, and I can tell you kind of what our student body looks like, and if that doesn't answer your question, I put something more specific in there. So we have our male-female split is almost twice as many males to female students. We'd like to see that change. We have about 25% minority population, 15% Hispanic typically. We have about 7 to 12% typically students in special education, and an equal number on 504 plans. So we have a significant number of students with disabilities. Often we have some students who are on the autism spectrum, and we didn't set out to necessarily serve students on the autism spectrum, but we have a small school size and really interesting STEM-focused curriculum, which often students on the autism spectrum, that's a good fit for them. So that's also a good fit. And our low-income population is typically between 25 and 33%, depending on the year. So Maricela, did I answer your question, or is there something more you'd like to know about? Okay, great. The lottery is at random. We actually use a random number generator in Excel, and we have a whole spreadsheet that picks students out at random. Now, random by category, right? Because some students, if they have preference, like sibling preference, they're selected in a group first, and then we go to then we go to everyone else, and everyone else is selected in a separate group at random. And the wait list is ordered again at random. And we'll wait here another 3-ish minutes. If you have more questions that you put in the chat and we don't see any appear in that time, we are so grateful you've come this evening, and we appreciate your attendance, and we hope this has been informative. We hope InTech is a good fit for you, and if it's not, we hope you find a great fit for your student at another school in the Valley or online. Oh, Amy asks, what's the chance of getting in? So if you are, if you have preference because your sibling is here or you have a sibling who's attended here before, they have always gotten in. 8th grade might be a little tight this year. We do know we are going to have to lotterize 7th grade and 8th grade. And so there's less of a chance of getting in immediately through the lottery. However, anyone who has applied in January, if they've been willing to wait, they've often gotten in by August. Last year was the first year we had some students who didn't get in that way, and that was in 7th grade. We just had such overwhelming interest in 7th grade. And that might be the case for 7th and 8th grade this year. Currently, we have lots of space in 9th grade. We have some space in 10th and 11th grade. So it kind of depends how many applications we get between now and next week. But if for some reason you're not selected in a lottery on the 31st and you're put on the wait list, don't despair. Most often, people who have applied in January have eventually gotten in if they've been patient. Last year was the first year, and only in 7th grade that it occurred that hasn't happened. And Angela, if you're still on, if you can't easily find the link to this information posted tomorrow on our website, send us an email and we can share that link with you, because sometimes when we post new information, it's not always where you expect it to be. Unfortunately, Rachel, we can't give preference legally to females. We'd actually like to, but it is illegal to do so, because we'd love for more girls to be involved in STEM and love to have a more equal balance. But we also love to obey the law. All right, any last questions? And if not, we're going to wrap up for this evening. Again, thank you for your attendance, participation. We hope to see your application in our lottery enrollment application list. Have a good evening, everyone.